Hey guys, let's talk Beyond the Gates for today, June 22nd, 2026. So, um, we start this episode with everyone down at the hospital. Everyone is at the hospital except for Nicole, the Grands, and Martin. Nicole is in a meeting in the building adjacent to the hospital. The Grands and Martin are down at Refugees because Martin is about to give a press conference. Basically, what he said the other day, where he was going to donate all the money that was raised at the fundraiser to the tornado relief. So he's at Orphy Jeans doing that. So everybody else is at the hospital waiting for a word on Kat and Eva. And everyone is basically in the lobby. We see Chelsea. She's standing against the wall and she's looking at photos of Kat on her phone. I thought that was very cute. And then everybody else is pacing, and there's a lot of nervous energy as they wait for the test results, well, not the test results, as they wait for the surgery to be completed. So everybody is out in the lobby except for Leslie. Leslie is in Eva's room and she is doing arts and crafts. I'm trying to I'm trying to control my rage, y'all, because she's annoying to me. Everything about this episode was actually annoying to me. But yeah, so anyway, they're in there and she's in her room, in Eva's room, and she is doing arts and crafts because she's trying to decorate the hospital room so that when Eva wakes up, she sees something beautiful. Shanice comes in and she's like, Leslie, girl, when she get construction paper? Anyway, so she's like, girl, did you steal somebody's discharge papers? And she said, they don't need this. She just do too much. And so Shanice is like, okay, girl, whatever. I'm not even gonna say nothing. Go ahead and do what you're doing. And so she's like, oh, you let me get off. If something bad happens, she's like, girl, I will tell you, you know. And she's telling her that, while she's in those scrubs and she's in the hospital and Eva's a patient, she is being a medical professional. But if she see her on the street, again, all of that go out the window. So, yeah. But girl, you might as well call it, cause Ted he been all up. He's using this as an excuse to be close with his boo, cause he been all up holding her and all of that since Eva been in that hospital. And you seeing it, you see it. I see the look on your face every time you see it, Shanice. Shanice, walk away because it ain't worth it. Meanwhile, Elon, Naomi, Jacob, and Darlene are down at the police station, and she is upset. She wants to go back to help him, and you know, because she wants to be with Isaiah. And she said, Naomi says, my family is there, and Darlene is still quite nasty about the Duprees too. So like, Leslie shouldn't feel no kind of way because she's still kind of nasty with the Duprees, and Naomi and Jacob are married and have been for a minute now. But I digress. So she's like, oh, so Naomi's like, well, I'll go down so he's not the only Hawthorne there. So she goes down to the hospital to sit with Isaiah. Isaiah was like, oh, can you go do something for me? So he sends her to go get that little raggedy bracelet that he made for Eva so that she can have it when she wake up. Meanwhile, Joey and Vanessa are at the casino, and um she's about to leave to she's about to leave to go to the hospital, to check on everybody. And so she's like, do you want me to give a message to Isaiah and all of this? Like, Vanessa irritates me, and I think that is her purpose on the show, is to get on my nerves. So she goes down to the hospital and to be, with everybody. She's talking to Danny, and she's like, "Oh, I see you with Andre. So you put that out of your mind." She was like, "Yeah, I went to see Bill. Everything, nothing happened, blah, blah, blah." Here come loudmouth Vanessa. Mind you, I just told you that everybody is sitting in the waiting area. Like, it's people scattered all about. It's a whole lot of people. Let me try and name them all. It is Chelsea. It's Andre. It's Isaiah. It's um people. Danny. It's like people all over the place. And anybody can pick up on anything that is said. And it's ridiculous. Like, why would you even say that? And of course, Andre kind of overhears. And so then she comes up with this story about how it was an old lady that was counting cards, and she saved the old lady from getting caught by Joey. Girl, doing too much. But anyway, so Martin gets his press conference, and then him and the Grands, they come to the hospital, and Martin is there, and finally, Grant goes in to see Leslie and extends an olive branch to Leslie. And I'm just like, why are we still extending olive branches to people who don't deserve it? Because I guarantee you, she told Shanice that she gonna be different, but she don't know how. So whatever. So Grant comes in the room, and she's like, "What, you came to gloat about my house being taken down in the tornado?" Girl, nobody is like that but you. That's you. That's a you thing. Like, ugh. But anyway, so she's like, "Look, we all pulling for the girls or whatever, and we leaning on each other. If you want to come out there and act like you got some sense, you can come be with us, be with everybody, cuz." And especially because they had Stella help. Anyway, so whatever. But so they go back out. Leslie comes out, and she gives this big old speech about, "You may not believe it, but Kat risked her life to save my daughter, and I won't forget." Girl, bye. Then her bad grammar self, when the doctor comes out and he's trying to tell them that, he got permission to release their medical information or whatever. He's like, how he get Eva permission when Eva ain't never woke up? Y'all, writing flaw. So she's like, "Is Kat and Eva okay?" "You mean, are Kat and Eva okay?" "Yes, I turned into the grammar police because she get on my nerves." So he's like, "Yeah, they're in recovery and they're going to be moved to their rooms." So then Danny calls Nicole, and she's like, "Kat's out of surgery, everything's good." She's like, "Okay, tell Ted to go ahead and go with Eva. I'm gonna be with Kat." So she Danny's going to go tell Ted, but then here comes Leslie jumping up, talking about something. "Can you come with me?" And then he's stumbling, and then Danny was like, "Nicole wants you to go with Eva." So anyway, so Nicole's in there with Kat, and she's talking to Kat. Kat's on the ventilator, which is should be red flag to all the physicians that she's on the ventilator. But Ted says, everybody responds to anesthesia differently. He tells Tomas that when he questions, why Eva is awake and why Kat isn't. Now, mind you, Leslie tells Eva that Kat saved her, and then her ungrateful self goes, "Willingly?" I ain't got nothing for Eva. Nothing. Y'all can't make me like her, and I have nothing good for her ungrateful self. So they're in there talking to Kat. Lawrence start beeping everybody out. Kat's in trouble. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Hey guys, let's talk Beyond the Gates for today, June 23rd, 2026. I'm not even going to stop the recording. I'm just going to go ahead and get right into it. I don't even need my notes because I'm not even saying anything on my notes. This is less of a recap and more of a scathing review because what we witnessed today is such writing bias. I don't, well, I know who's in charge of the show, but the person who is in charge of this show clearly has been a Eva in a past life or a Leslie. And so they feel like they want to use the show to get justice for all despicable people. Because that's what we witnessed today. And it's so disgusting. And I'm completely turned off from the show. I don't know how many more recaps you will get because I don't know how much more I can tolerate because today was utterly ridiculous. And I have a choice in the matter. If I don't like something, I don't have to watch. And that might be the case with Beyond the Gates. And I am one that I still try and stick it out through it all because I don't agree with everything that is going on General Hospital and what's going on with my favorite character there. And, however, this is egregious, and I don't even have the words to express how disappointed I am in what we saw today. So today's episode, Kat is still not waking up. Her parents are at her bedside, and Kat is having dreams while she's asleep. And in this dream sequence, they have determined, they being the writers, have determined that they were going to humble Kat. Kat, who only had these feelings towards Eva and Leslie because of things that Eva and Leslie have done to her. If we go back all the way to the beginning, before Leslie and Eva even met Kat, they had viciousness towards Kat because they felt like because of Kat's existence, that's why Ted wasn't around. Because Nicole got pregnant with Kat, that's why Ted wasn't with Leslie, and that's why Ted wasn't a father to her. But instead of placing the blame at Ted's feet, Ted is absolved of everything. He did no wrong. It was Nicole and Kat who did the wrong by simply existing. Nicole, who did not know that her husband was having an affair. Kat, who was not even conceived for being born, for daring to be born. And so they have Kat looking at things from Leslie and Eva's point of view. And in the end, she says, I may never like Eva or trust her, but I understand. No, it's not for Kat to understand. Kat was not the issue. The issue is Eva coming in with this agenda with her trashy mother. Because yes, let's call a spade a spade. Leslie is trashy, and she came in with her trashy mother to blow up Nicole's life. And then she likes to say, "Oh, I tried to stop it." You knew that Nicole and Ted weren't who you were taught they were long before that anniversary party was planned. Before you and your raggedy mother even came up with the idea of doing that anniversary party so that she could humiliate um Nicole. Before even that happened, you knew what kind of person Nicole was. You also know that Nicole didn't know anything about your dad's affair with your mother. So for you to go through with it and then try and say at the ninth hour, oh, I tried to stop it. You didn't try to stop nothing. And then you kept coming for Kat. You said, oh, she talked about my clothes. She talked about your clothes because she peeped you immediately. You forget that she walked in the room and saw you going through her mother's things and immediately felt the sus vibes from you. So anything or any way that she had treated you was warranted by actions of your own. So we have that. And then instead of knowing, oh, yeah, well, I am up to no good, I can see why Kat doesn't like me. You dig in your heels and then you start intentionally going after Tomas. And I'm not giving Tomas a pass. I don't even like Tomas. But you intentionally went after Tomas because you had a thing about Kat. You hated that Ted raised her. You felt like Kat had the life that you should have had. And so you wanted to bring her down a peg or two or three by messing with Tomas. And that's what you did. Kat came to your apartment with a Chelsea Cat bag in good faith to try and clear the air with you and, kill the animosity. And that's what she walked in on, you with her boyfriend. But yeah, let's writers pretend that Catherine Richardson is the issue. Kat isn't the issue. The issue is Eva. The favoritism and the bias in this writing is speaking loud. And it's undeniable at this point. Because why should Kat have to feel what Eva is, what it's like to be in Eva's shoes and not the other way around? Because Eva should understand how she came in under false pretenses, her mother attempting to murder Laura twice, and why Kat would feel a way about her. Why everyone else feels like she should be forgiven or it should be forgiven or ignored or swept under the carpet is beyond me. But then again, that goes back to this biased writing. And I don't know that I can continue to subject myself to something that is clear, because having Kat not wake up so that she can see things from Eva's point of view after she did the thing of allowing her family to coerce her, because y'all keep saying, oh, Kat chose to do this on her own, but at the end of the day, y'all coerced her and she was afraid to lose her father's love, so that's why she gave the liver. I'm just so sick of this, and I just really don't know, like, how I am supposed to continue to watch this. And the only reason, if I do continue to watch and recap, the only reason I'm doing so is because of Kobe Nixon. That's the only reason, because she's phenomenal and I support her. But this show has gotten out of hand. I saw something today and it says, what we were promised beyond the gates. But what we got is them gates. What it say? Beyond them gates with Eva and Leslie. Because this isn't about the Duprees. This isn't about them at all. And I don't know what else there is to say. But let me know if you're feeling like I'm feeling. Leave your comments, because I'm pissed. and we might be here. Hey y'all, I decided to come back for Beyond the Gates today. We playing this ear by ear, going day by day, but let's talk Beyond the Gates for today, June 24th, 2026. So we start this episode off at the hospital, and we have Ted and Shanice, and they're talking, and she's saying to him, I know that you feel relieved now. Both of your girls are stable, and all of that, successful surgeries and being stable. And he's like, yeah, and that he's so proud of Kat or whatever. And the whole I'm so proud of Kat foolishness, you can kind of miss me with that because you coerced her into it. And of course she did it because she didn't have a choice, or she ran the risk of losing her father's love. So she felt. And so you don't get to glory in that, and your manipulation working. But I digress. So while they're talking, the alarm in Kat's room goes off, and it's Kat. She is asking to be moved to Eva's room because she wants to talk to Eva. So Ted and Shanice take her to see Eva. She asks to be left alone. She tells Eva thanks her, and she was like, I already told you you're welcome before they prep me for surgery. And she tells her about her dream when she was under anesthesia, and she says that she understands where Eva, how it is being in Eva's shoes, and how it felt to be abandoned by her dad. And she was like, yeah, that was your worst nightmare. Kat reiterates that we are not going to be sisters. And then Eva's like, but I want to thank you because you did this. And they hold hands. And I'm not saying that I'm upset that they are no longer at odds, but I don't like how they coerced Kat into this, or made Kat look like she was the problem when Kat was not the problem. Again, we're absolving Eva without Eva, the character, doing any work to deserve the absolution. And that's the issue that I have with them seemingly to calling a truce. But anyway, so um, Ted finally comes back in because Shanice wants to get Kat back to her room. And when Kat goes back to her room, Leslie comes in, and Leslie is acting grateful. And I say acting because I don't believe anything that comes out of Leslie's mouth. She will be grateful for this moment, but trust and believe it won't be for long. Kat asked her not to call her kitty cat no more. She was like, girl, it's a term of endearment. And she's like, yeah, I knew you didn't mean it. She was like, no, I do. And I want to pay my debts. And Kat told her, yeah, but and I do intend to collect. Meanwhile, we have Anita and Vernon, they're at home, and he overhears Anita canceling her doctor's appointment. She needs to have a pre-op scan for her lumpectomy, but she stated that she wanted to, put things on hold for a little while, a few days, so that she can focus on taking care of Kat. Doesn't Kat have a mom? A mom? Not only that does she have a mom, but she has a mom that's a physician. But I guess I digress. She says that she wants to be, able to take care of Kat, and Vernon is not trying to hear it because he's like, no, you need to take care of yourself, because basically you can't pour from an empty cup, Anita. And even with this cancer situation, you need to go ahead and do what you got to do so that the cancer doesn't come back or reoccur. So you don't really need to be putting this off any further. And so they have a little tug of war going back and forth, but ultimately she listens to her husband. Then we have Danny and Andre. She slept through her alarms, and Danny and Andre makes note that she hasn't really been sleeping since the tornado, and guilt will do that to you. She's guilty of sleeping with Bill, and I want Andre to find out. Not because of Danny, but because Andre sucks. And I want him to shatter because of what he said about Kat. So anyway, he is talking to her. You can talk to me about what's going on. And child, I guess go and talk to Andre, girl. Meanwhile, we have Bill and Naomi. Bill in there fantasizing about Danny, and he calls out Danny's name, and Naomi is like, wrong to pretty woman. And so he's trying to smooth things over so that she won't be on to him, but I don't think he really smoothed anything over. I think she still knows, like, not what happened, but that he's thinking about her mom in that way. And what if that had been Haley walking in there? But Bill did say he didn't care if Haley found out, didn't he? Meanwhile, um, Leslie around there trying to pay off the hospital for what they did to Leslie. I mean, did for Eva. And Shanice is trying to tell her, like, you can't just tip us like we made her these at a restaurant. Like, girl, this is not how that works. Um, and then Ted tells her, if you want to do something, you can, donate to one of the foundations that Garland supports. And she's like, I already, got the free clinic. And he's basically like, girl, that's all you can do. So we'll see if she gives any money to charity. Then we have Tomas meeting with Chelsea. Tomas was shaken by Kat almost dying, and Tomas wants to marry Kat. Now, I don't like Tomas, so I don't want Kat to marry Tomas, but I don't like that Chelsea is trying to prevent him from proposing on behalf of Kat. Let Kat, deal with it how she will. Because if Kat don't want to get married, Kat's not going to get married. Like, trust me. If Kat don't want to do something, she's not going to do something until she's good and ready. But she did make a good point about Kat, being pressured, because let's act like she was pressured into giving the liver. She did make a point about Kat being pressured into giving the liver, and now this on the cusp of that made me feel like she's being pressured into marriage. But Tomas is just saying that things have been put into a different perspective for him now that he almost lost Kat. Do y'all think? Well, I think a lot of us are on, a lot of us are of the same mind of not liking Tomas. So I'm pretty sure that none of us really want Tomas and Kat to get married. But what do y'all think Kat will say if Tomas proposes? Do you think Kat will be ready to get married? Or is it like not the time or the place for that? But yeah, that was Beyond the Gates today. I still felt like it was still more BS. That's why this recap may be a little dry, and I do apologize about that. I hope that my enthusiasm for the show returns, because I can't keep recapping if it's going to be like this. But I feel like they still were playing in our faces today, so that's why I'm a little unenergetic when recapping. But yeah, we'll be back tomorrow, I guess, and hopefully I'll have a little bit more spunk. Hey guys, let's talk Beyond the Gates for today, June 25th, 2026. Yes, is it a little bit more pep in my voice than yesterday and the day before? Absolutely. When certain people aren't on, I can enjoy it a little bit more. It's still stupid, but I could deal with today. I could deal with today. So today we started with Anita and Vernon. They are finally at the hospital for her doctor's appointment. And, her doctor comes in and tells her, that she doesn't have any spreading or any lesions or anything. So she's good to go for her lumpectomy. So that was good news. And then we have Ashley. She finally talks to Grayson. But before she does, she tells him to meet her at Orphe Jeans. And she calls Naomi in a panic. And Naomi goes over to speak with her and gives her blessing for her to be with Grayson. You were going to do that anyway. You was going to do what you want to do. Why are you acting like you care about what Derek thinks? Do you think Derek would forgive me if I would be with the man who indirectly had a hand in his death? Girl, you was going to do what you wanted to do anyway. You was just trying to act like you was mad and grieving, and your expiration has run out. So like I don't even care, Ashley, but I digress. So then we have Ted and Tomas, and I hate Tomas, right? I do. But I think I hate Ted more because shut up. Like I actually don't have anything for you, Ted. I don't want to hear anything. Don't try to act like you're some caring, loving, doting father, that you care about your daughter so much and care about with Tomas and Eva, because let's not put it all on Tomas. Eva had a hand in doing what Tomas and Eva did to Kat, but you want to act like you care so much. But you never reprimanded Eva for doing it, but you want to still be holding Tomas's feet to the fire. Yeah, his feet deserve to be held to the fire. He should be questioned about his motives and about what he has done to Kat. But you don't get to do it because you're the last person talking about some marriage is a commitment. What happened to your commitment to Nicole? And then while we're here, I don't understand men with daughters that treat the women that they're with like crap and then want to demand that the men that are with their daughters treat their daughters like gold. Nicole is somebody's daughter, but you treated her like you treated her at the like I will never get over the timing of the relationship, because if the relationship with Leslie wasn't bad enough, you did it while Nicole was trying to have a child for you. Like that is like okay, Ted. But so he trying to put the fear in God into Tomas, and it just falls flat because anything you don't care about Kat for real. So like shut up. Like that's how I feel about it. Let me know what y'all think down in the comments, or am I just being too tough on Ted? Like I don't like Tomas, but that message will have to come from somewhere else and not him, because I don't want to hear it from him. Then we have Chelsea and Kat. They're talking. They're doing a little work and they're talking. And so Chelsea is talking to Kat and she's trying to question her to see where her head is as far as her relationship with Tomas, to see if Kat is even ready to get married. And it doesn't seem like that is where Kat's head is right now. She's like, don't try to rush me down the aisle because you ready to go down the aisle. And, you know, Chelsea may have been right. I still think it's up for Kat to say one way or the other, but I get her talking to Kat to kind of see where her head is at. So I don't know what she's gonna do with that information, but yeah, Kat didn't indicate that she's ready for that. she says that they're chill, they're having fun. Yeah, they're committed. But they're not that serious. And then they're further talking about, they were supposed to go to Tokyo. And, Kat was indicating that she's going to be with Chelsea in Tokyo. And Chelsea's like, yeah, girl, you can't go. You just had major surgery. And in comes deadbeat daddy of the year. And he confirms, yeah, you're not going to Tokyo. And so she's like, that's not fair. But, such is life. This is what happens when you do good deeds. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding, y'all. But so Kat is it going to Tokyo? That's out. So then we have uh Danny talking with Naomi, and she calls Bill. She says that she and Haley share a husband. And so Naomi looking at her mom all sus, and then she starts questioning her the same way she started questioning Bill the day before. And it's like, y'all are not low. But even though they're not low, it doesn't give Danny the right to go beelining over there to Bill's office. I'm so sick of Danny and Bill. She goes over there to his office because just say that you want the man. Stop lying and playing because you keep saying you love Andre. It's like you keep saying it until you believe it. Like, girl, you keep running over there. Any excuse to run over there to Bill. And she calls herself trying to slap him. And Haley walks in. But before Haley walks in, Haley and Bill were at Uptown and they were talking, and she's like, why are you so haunted by the tornado? You were fine. And he's like, oh yeah, let's lose Kat and Martin for an excuse. The fallout from the tornado. Bill, you don't care about nobody but yourself. Let's not act like Haley don't know you and know that. So he's saying all of that, and then she's like, well, it makes me feel less than, or whatever the case may be. And he's like, oh, I didn't mean to make you. So somehow it turns into he want her to enact one of his fantasies, and he whispers it into Haley's ear. And she was like, well, you go back to work and I'm gonna go home and change. So she goes home and change and comes back when Danny is mid slap. And she's like, what is going on here? And then Danny makes it slip that he played this fantasy out with her before. And you did that stuff, and you're going to make stuff hard for him at home. You know he going to tell Andre. You might as well tell Andre yourself. But I don't care if Andre is hurt at this point because he still talk trash about Kat. And yes, I'm going to say it every single time I say Andre's name. But at the same time, Danny, girl, y'all playing. I just can't. I'm so sick and tired of being sick and tired, y'all. Then meanwhile, back at the country club, Tomas says he's meeting with the planners because he's trying to plan a welcome home party for Kat. And then Grant says, let's have the party at my house. I think this is the party where he's going to propose. But yeah, that was Beyond the Gates. We'll be back tomorrow to round out this week, this crazy week. Hey guys, let's talk Beyond the Gates for today, June 26th, 2026. Ashton, you're smiling while doing a Beyond the Gates recap. Yes, I am, because this is our last day of Beyond the Gates for a week. So I get to have my peace of mind back and not have to do with this foolishness and decide whether or not I'm coming back the following week. No, I probably will be here, but this is your PSA. There will be no new episodes of Beyond the Gates next week. They're all repeats. So yeah, you won't be seeing me recapping Beyond the Gates because there is no Beyond the Gates to recap. But anyway, we start this episode with Bill and Haley, as we know that, Danny just left the office and she's questioning him, about why Danny was upset. And she was like, if you don't want me to hit you, you need to tell me. And of course, Bill ain't going to tell her because then he'd have to admit that he a lying, no good, dirty man. So of course he didn't, and he didn't tell her, what was up, because you gonna admit that even though he said he don't care enough to tell the truth, because telling the truth is kind of not Bill's thing. So whatevs. So he does you know somehow, through some voodoo Jedi mind trick. Well, I ain't gonna say voodoo Jedi mind trick, because um Haley knows how to flip the script anyway, and she wanted to flip the script so that she can poison him. They start talking frisky again, and she opens her trench coat, and then he goes to go let the office off early so that he can get his freak on in his office. Sorry, it's thundering. So that he can go get his freak on in his office with Haley, child, I guess. But anyway, so while he is letting the employees go for the day, she is poisoning him, and I'm pretty sure she gave him a double dose because she want him gone like yesterday. So then we have Eva and Isaiah. They're in the hospital, and they're talking, and then Leslie comes in, and she's like, she's moving in. The house got destroyed in the tornado, and hotel living is lonely, and she's like, oh, can't you just move in Peach's apartment, because and she's like, she sublet Peach's apartment because Peaches, I believe, is like in assisted care or something. So she says she sublet her because she knows how to, handle her money. So it is, she sublet the Peaches' apartment, which is stupid, right? Because was Peaches paying rent? Because if Peaches was paying rent, that's crazy. But I digress. I digress, child. And so, then, you know, Shanice comes in to do physical therapy with Eva, and Leslie and Isaiah have to leave. And so Isaiah is talking to Ted, and Leslie is overhearing. And so she assumes, because Nicole interrupts her overhearing, she assumes that Isaiah is asking Ted for Eva's hand in marriage. And so she tells Nicole, and so Nicole's like, congratulations. And he's like, what? Congratulations on what? He's like, she's like, the proposal. And he was like, oh, Tomas told you? No, he was like, how did you know? And she was like, Leslie told me. He said, Tomas told Leslie. And then she's like, Tomas? No, I'm talking about Isaiah. And he was like, oh, no, he was asking me to help him, ward off Leslie. And she was like, oh, Tomas asked you. So her parents are really not that thrilled, but they want to allow Kat the ability to make the decision on her own, which is what I said about Chelsea. But I still understand, and I'm glad, that Chelsea did talk to her, didn't spoil it, but she did talk to her herself. But yeah, her parents said that that's on, let Kat make her own decisions, which is true because Kat is grown and she knows how to handle her business, even though I think she's gonna say yes. Don't say yes, Kat. But I think she is. So then we have Deanna and Kat, and I like the friendship between Deanna and Kat. Kat like gets along with a lot of people, and I like that. So she's talking to her, and she's trying to get her to see reason. And she says, she doesn't hate Eva as much now, and they're never going to be sisters, but she with the situation, she's learned a lot and how to approach that situation. And so she's trying to help Deanna, but Deanna ain't trying to hear it. So then when Deanna leaves, Kyle comes in to do Kat's PT, and she's questioning him about his relationship with her mom, and she starts asking about his sons, and if he's going to introduce his sons to her mom, and he says he wants to. And so then we see the Shanice is working with Eva, and Kyle is working with Kat, and they kind of run into each other, and then like everybody's in the lobby, the parents that is are in the lobby, and everybody is, it's actually a cute moment, not in the fact that Eva and Kat had a cute moment, but in the fact that you know everybody is watching, and then they start calling out to their child. It was kind of cute. But you know they have a cordial greeting. They're like, Eva, Kat, and then they try and maneuver one another. But while they're maneuvering, Ted is talking to Nicole, and he touching Nicole's arm and stuff, and they're laughing, and Shanice is looking. I'm trying to tell you, Shanice, I'm sorry, girl. Cut your losses and run, because Ted ain't it. I'm just saying, because this is what you're going to have to deal with constantly, dealing with Ted, and I just don't think that you should do this to yourself. Ted is not worth it, and Ted is going to end up hurting you. It hurts you every time you see him in close proximity with his exes anyway. And it's not going to stop because Ted doesn't want it to stop. Ted likes having all the women give him attention, or like, I don't even know what it is about Ted, but he's not going to stop. So you need to remove yourself from that situation, Shanice, is all I'm saying. And then we have Smitty, Martin, Tyrell, and Samantha. They're at home, and it's almost time for graduation, and they're like, let's go, to Miami because Beyonce having a pop-up show. Beyonce and pop-up show. Okay, y'all, leave Beyonce out of this. I want y'all to take her name out of your scripts. Like, leave Beyonce outside on the other side of the gates, because we don't want her mixed up in this shenanigans. Okay, leave her out of it. But they're having pizza night and playing games or whatever, and it looks like Smitty and Martin are texting and not really engaging, but what they were really doing was planning a trip. So they planned a trip to the Bahamas, as a family trip, one last hurrah before Tyrell goes off to college. And then Tyrell is like, oh, can I ask Vanessa to, not, what's his girlfriend name, Jessica, to come? And it was like, if her parents say yes, she can come. So I like that. They're going on a family vacation. And yeah, that was Beyond the Gates for this week. And as I said, next week there will be no new Beyond the Gates. And I am so glad, because it's easy for me, because that means I only have to recap General Hospital. And y'all don't know, the last time we had a week off from Beyond, well, or a couple of days off from Beyond the Gates, the days when I only have to do one recap, good. Um, so I'm excited, but yeah, we made it through this week. My sentiments from Tuesday still stand, but as of right now, I'm still locked in, I guess. And you guys have a safe weekend. Next week is a short week. um, because um, yeah, short work week. So